Well, it's morning in Maine. It's going to be a pretty morning, I think. Alexa, turn the table light on. You may have noticed that I have a lot of bags of coffee up there in the cupboard. New England coffee, good stuff, some nice flavors. It was half price the other day, so we took advantage of that. That's one thing we like to have, is some good coffee once in a while. We purchase things like that sometime in bulk, particularly on sale. We shop sales. I know a lot of people do. It's kind of the way that we were brought up where we came from. I was a very late baby. My mother was 46. So she was born in 1908, which would make her, what, 112 years old, I think, now? At least 113. My parents were born in the late 1800s, not that far removed from the Civil War. We grew up with parents that went through the Depression and the first World War. They were in their 20s at the time, so they weren't like children either. They had a very saving sort of thing. You probably heard the stories about Depression people like saving all the tinfoil, folding up, putting it in the drawer, and all of the elastics and string and twine and so forth. Well, we don't go that far, but we are fairly frugal people, and we do everything ourselves, just virtually everything. I never had my car worked on until I was like 50 years old. We built all of this. No one works in our houses ever. Hence the long-winded explanation of why there's like a dozen bags of coffee in the cupboard. Can you hear the coffee pot? For those of you who have drip coffee makers, I don't see the drawer. Before Mr. Coffee came out, and I remember when that happened back in the mid-70s, early mid-70s, this is what we had. Instead of dripping the coffee, it pushes the water up through, and it drips through over and over and over again. You get a really strong cup of coffee, and if you've got good coffee, you get some good coffee that's strong but not bitter, which is what good coffee is all about. Joyce, breakfast.
Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning. You're up. Breakfast.
Yeah.
Well, here we are at breakfast. Breakfast consists of an omelet and a tomato. It doesn't vary that much, does it?
No, it doesn't.
And there's a reason for that. We've been eating on and off, and I say on and off because we're not always good about it, like this for a very long time. Most people do not cook or eat this way. I mean, these are not real eggs. Well, they're real egg whites, but they're like egg beaters. They're made almost like 100% egg white. The cheese that I put in was a skim milk mozzarella and mushrooms and onions. A little bit of spray butter to keep things from sticking. We're old people trying not to get older, to stop from getting older. But I will tell you, it does happen and you can't stop it. It's one thing we found out. Yeah. But we take minimal medications. I take almost nothing, and I only started at about 60, and you're pretty much the same way. A little more of a problem because in your family you have a little more of a cholesterol, blood pressure problem.
Yes.
But in both cases, it's in check completely. So, and the fact that we started, in our 60s, I think is pretty good because I know a lot of my friends started as early as their mid-40s. When you get older, you really start thinking of that stuff. And we made it sort of a hobby to do this. What I like, ham and eggs and or bacon and whole wheat toast and something. And we've been known to go stints doing that too.
Yes.
But for the most part, we try to do it this way, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And Joyce is so good about it. I say, I'm cooking for your health, and she says, okay. Now, me cooking. There's another thing. When I retired a ways back, Joyce did all the cooking for like ever. And we retired a ways back, and I said, I like cooking, even though I didn't do that much. So you're off the hook. And cooking wasn't your thing anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I clean up after.
Yeah.
So which is pretty good, I guess.
It's good for me. I like the cooking, and then she cleans up after me. Like, what a deal. So, no, we both have our divisions of labor, and they're not necessarily divided among gender lines either. There are certain things that I just am probably better at, and certain things you're better at, and certain things that require more heavy stuff and everything. So we just kind of do what we're better at. And then sometimes we just don't do it at all for a long time.
Yeah.
But let's eat.
Okay.
Okay. Breakfast at the lake.
Yep.
It's as good as it was yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. Hey, sometimes I vary the vegetables. Joyce.
Yes.
There's something I found out yesterday, and I'm really hesitant to talk to you about it. But I've got to tell you, because I would be amiss if I didn't. Yesterday I found out that even though it's October 22nd, they started showing the Hallmark Christmas movies on the Hallmark Channel. Your reaction.
Oh, my reaction. Okay. Sorry.
Let me turn this off. we were trying to tape this and get Joyce's reaction. It didn't work out quite as I want. Okay, Joyce. Let's try this again. You know, people, even though this stuff actually happens, sometimes we have to go back and kind of like stage the reaction because we miss it on camera the first time. So this is what's happening right now. So let's have a reaction.
Really? I don't.
One more time, one with enthusiasm.
Really? Oh my.
Very good. That's kind of like what you originally did when I told you. Very good. Well, fall is well underway, and I've got some stuff I've got to do to get ready for it, because the leaves are going to be coming down en masse soon, and I need to get ready for them. Around here, the trees that change first are the trees like poplar, the stuff with the small leaves. They turn yellow. Then the maple, and then the last to go, and sometimes really last, is the oak tree. Sometimes that's snowing on them and the leaves are still green. And I'll also need a tarp. So this is where I'm working today. The leaves and pine needles have just begun to fall. This is like 2% of what's going to come down. If I were to leave these and not deal with them at all, they'd be a foot and a half thick. You wouldn't even be able to see the steps. So we can rake them all at once, or we can just take them in pieces, and that's the goal. See all of those small growing things on this hill? I have to cut these every year. They keep coming up, and if I don't, raking this hill is kind of a nightmare. So I got to take my bush cutters and cut these sticks, put them on the tarp, and haul them out back. Trees. It's like having pets that keep peeing on the carpet all the time. Hello. How you doing? Okay. Back to work. Well, back. Break time. As I get older, I find that I need a few more break times. Get all the twigs, or the ones that I want, taken off and hauled up here. They'll go across the road into the woods in a second. And now I'm going to get a head start on the stuff that's on the ground, because I find that I can do it all at once and it's one big job, or I can take it in smaller bites. And if I do that, it can be a lot easier. I've come back down into the garage for a rake, but I wanted to show you something because it has a little bit to do with what I'm going to be doing next. This is my lawnmower, and I'm done with it for the year. It's an Ego mower. It's got a 56-volt battery that goes right there on the top, and that's what I mow my lawn with. And I've had, gas mowers, but this one is really nice because it starts really easy with a push of a button. But I'm not mowing the lawn today because the lawn's kind of done growing. I don't think I'll have to do it again. I did want to point this out for a specific reason. And this is the reason. Just picked this up new this season. This is an Ego blower, and it's the most powerful battery blower on the market. You can see 650 cubic feet per minute. I've got a gas-powered leaf blower that actually goes on my back, and it does a really nice job. It's 550 cubic feet per minute as far as the amount of power it has. I've already used this electric one out in the backyard here, and I gotta say it's pretty nice. The thing is with the gas-powered one is that, of course, you're gonna hoist it on your back, which really isn't a big deal. And of course, you're gonna mix the oil with the gas. It's two cycle, and get it started. And with 2-cycle engines, that can be a challenge sometimes, particularly early in the season. You only use them once or twice a year. Even though I winterize it really good. So this electric one, I'm kind of hoping won't be a problem as far as longevity is concerned with the batteries. Now, this battery is supposed to go about 30 minutes, and the reason I got this and bought into the ecosystem is because I already had a battery for the lawnmower, and all of their batteries are universal, and they're fairly high current. They're 56 volts. They go quite a ways. They're a bit heavy compared to some other blowers that take much smaller batteries. But I'm kind of hoping this will work for me, and just be quicker to pick up and just go to the leaves with. We'll see. Well, it's not perfect. Again, I'm not looking for perfection. I've got to come out and do this 3 or 4 more times, so the last time will be a little bit better cleanup. But we got the bulk of it off, and that's a good start. And first time using this blower to this extent has worked out really well. I use it on turbo almost all the time. Because it just blows really good that way, but it takes the most battery. And there are 5 dots on the battery indicating the amount of power you have left, and I've still got 2 left. Pretty good. And I've got a whole nother battery in the shop, so this is going to be good. It's going to take the place of my gas blower. It's really nice.
True. Well, then it's a good thing you're on a team together. To go. Build. Be my elves.
Time to make supper. Tonight we're having soup. More specifically, we call it depression soup. Why did we call it that? Well, some people would probably call it kitchen sink soup, but when I was a kid, you'd make soup and throw whatever you had into it. So it's like kitchen sink soup, but that's what they used to do during the Depression from what I understand. So, whatever we have in the refrigerator, which is considerable, I'm only missing the one ingredient that I want to use, and that is celery. Let me show you what I'm going to put in here. I've laid it all out for you. I usually don't do this, but I did it this time. It's going to have a chicken thigh broth and stock that I'm going to make. Why chicken thighs? They're a dark meat. They make really good broth. 2 onions, a mushroom, which I don't always have. I wish I had celery. I don't have that. Broccoli florets, cut green beans, and some mixed vegetables. And in here we have lentils, lima beans, of which I wish I had a few more, but that's all I've got, and barley, along with a few spices. And we will have some soup that, as you can see, is probably going to be more like a stew. So this isn't going to be one of those soup that's going to be all broth and with a little bit of stuff in it. It's going to have a lot of stuff with a little bit of broth. But it is so good. Time to get started on it. Okay, soup's about half done. I have put some salt in it, put some pepper in it, and I put a number of spices. And let me just tell you the spices I put in it. The spices are marjoram, basil, rosemary, thyme, oregano, savory, and sage. And how I know that is that this Italian seasoning has all those in them. So that I usually buy this to avoid getting all the other stuff and not knowing really what to use. This works really well. In a few minutes, I will take the 2 chicken thighs out, pull the bone out, kind of shred the meat and put it back in and let it finish cooking.
Hi.
Hi. Soup's on.
Your soup's on, yeah.
Literally.
Yep.
In a bowl of soup. You have it in a big bowl because, I don't know, did we spill it?
Yeah.
We have a glass of water. 2 reasons. 1, we're thirsty. And 2, the soup is very hot. So on the first batch, or the first time we have some, we usually put a little water in the bowl and make sure we have some cold water for when we burn our mouth off.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's gonna be hot.
I timed it right.
Is it good?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's good. It's
I
good.
jokingly call this the best soup in the world, but it is very good. So, bon appetit.
Yes. It would be better with biscuits, though.
I know, but what's in this? 2 chicken thighs, so we're each basically getting 1. And beyond that, a little barley, which has carbohydrates, and the lima beans. But that's about it. The rest of it's just vegetables. So, low calorie, really good, and an old family kind of thing we throw together. So, I'm glad they watched.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next time. Bye.